Every time I come home, I find grace on repeat. You welcome me with open arms, no matter where I have been. Every time I surrender, every time I fall, I find grace more precious than I did before. So I'm gonna lay my world down here at your feet. Look to the heavens for all I need. I'm gonna sing my heart out, praise on repeat, to the God who's never given up on me. You're the mercy of midnight, you're the kindness of dawn, my hope in every waking hour, and the strength I lean on. Every time it comes to sundown and the night sets in, that my soul remembers just how good you've been. And again my heart will sing. I'm gonna lay my world here at your feet. Look to the heavens for all I need. I'm gonna sing my heart out, praise on repeat, to the God who's never given up on me. 'Cause you're the God who's never given up on me. Grace upon grace, morning by morning, day after day will I sing. Grace upon grace, God be exalted over and over again. Oh, grace upon grace, morning by morning, day after day will I sing. Oh, praise upon praise, God be exalted over and over again. I'm gonna lay my world down here at your feet. Look to the heavens for all I need. I'm gonna sing my heart out, praise on repeat, to the God who's never given up on me. 'Cause you're the God who's never giving up on me.
To the mothers and all the women who've cared for us, to the grandmothers the spiritual mothers, and the waiting mothers, to the foster moms, the single moms, and the stepmoms, to the mentors, friends, guardians, and guides, to those who loved us, taught us, and showed us the way, to those who carried us, held our hand, and watched us grow, to those who experienced blessing this year, and to those who went through loss, to the heroic women all around us, we want to say, thank you. Thank you for your courage, your kindness, and your faith in God. Thank you for shaping us, nurturing us, and walking with us through life. Thank you for showing us what it looks like to love and follow Jesus. Thank you for your prayers, your wisdom, and for never giving up on us. Thank you for boldly stepping into this high and holy calling. Thank you for the long nights and the short years and for the incredible joy. Whether this is a day of reflection, rejoicing, or remembering, we acknowledge you, we honor you, and we thank you today. Happy Mother's Day.
Good morning and welcome to the Rivers online worship service for this Sunday. My name is Dean Ward and I serve as the lead pastor of the River Church, and I am so grateful that you have chosen to join in with us here today on this special day. You say, why is this day special? Well, it's special because I'm wearing a suit, and I'm wearing a suit because it's Mother's Day. My mother loved when I preached, but she loved when I preached even more when I was wearing a suit. She often would cringe when I would not wear a suit early in ministry when I was down in Mississippi. She once said to me, well, I sure hope when you're standing before God and you give an account for the reason your church did not grow because you did not wear a suit, I hope that you're comfortable with that. So, a mother for Mother's Day, I want to honor you. I want to thank you. I appreciate your investment in my life. And to all the moms out there, thank you for the blessing that you are in each of our lives in such significant ways. This is also a special Sunday because it is the Sunday before our car show Sunday. Sunday, May 19th, next Sunday is our car show. And so the weeks leading up to the car show, we like to film in car-themed related areas. My good friends, the Bordenero family, they own Hillcrest Volkswagen, and they've been so gracious to us over the past 4 years, letting us film here from time to time. And today I'm filming next to this beautiful 2024 Golf GTI SE. It is fast, it is sleek, and it has a price tag higher than I'm able to do right now. But I dream of one day being able to sport around in a just a beautiful car like this. I'd love to invite you, if you're looking for a car, to come stop in, see their showroom, go out to their used car lot. They got a lot of great vehicles in stock, and would love to see you supporting Hillcrest Volkswagen because of their support of the river, their support of this community, and their support as a family-owned business supporting their customers. So come check it all out. Well, today we are wrapping up our series of messages just simply called Rewriting the Algorithm, the Transformation of You. And in this series, we have been looking at this notion of rewriting the algorithm, rewriting your algorithm, where we invite Jesus to hack our lives, where we invite Jesus to steal our identity, and where we invite Jesus to rewrite our code. And in the second week of the series, we looked at our God gift, our image of God in our minds, what we think of when we think of God, and how rewriting that in a way that aligns with Scripture and transforms our view of God to be accurate to who He is through Jesus Christ's image, Him being the living, physical, in the flesh representation of the invisible God. Then 2 weeks ago, we looked at the code, the part that Scripture plays in our lives in rewriting our algorithm and our transformation. And then last week, we looked at the gift of prayer and this convergence of our lives with God in prayer and the power of prayer. Well, today, as we wrap this up, we're going to look at your SEO. Now, SEO, for those of you that are aware of technology and algorithms and the internet, just refers to your search engine optimization that puts you at the top of the list when somebody is searching for something that reflects you and your product. When they search, the better and healthier and better performing your SEO is, the more people are going to be able to find your results when they search compared to your competitors. Well, today, SEO, we're going to refer that to your soul engine optimization, meaning that if Paul is pointing us in the direction of being transformed to being like Christ, and if we are committed to living out Romans 12:2, that says, don't be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our mind, then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, perfect, and pleasing will. Well, the more we live a transformed life, the more those characteristics and those qualities show up. And when people realize that they need something in their lives, when they realize and come to terms with that God-shaped vacuum and void in their lives, and they begin to search for it, is it you that they're going to turn to? Is it you that they're going to reach out to? Is it those of us who have been transformed by Jesus Christ? Is our soul engine optimization strong so that those who need Jesus search for Him and come to us to best find Him? So I just want to point out that this process of transformation is cooperating with the Spirit of God to put off the old, to put on the new, and to become the person Jesus created you and I to be. And so I want to invite you to participate in this process. Now, a disciple is someone who is continuously learning to live and to love like Jesus, and then leading others to do the same. So we're going to look a little bit past Romans 12:1 and 2 today. We're going to look at verse 3 and then verses 9 through 18 because they are significant. Because here's the deal. When we invite Jesus to hack our lives, Paul is saying, hey, if your life has been hacked by the grace of God, that initial transformation takes place. And then if we're inviting Jesus to steal our identity, if we've had Jesus' grace poured into our lives and we identify as a Christ follower, then Jesus will rewrite our code. He'll help us not be conformed to the pattern of this world. But how many of you, show of hands, how many of you like writing code? Matt, my tech filming guy, raised his hand because I guess he knows how to write code. Well, the reality is so many of us don't know how to write code. It's like, what do you mean write code? Isn't there a lot of ones and zeros and a whole lot of like confusing stuff? Well, today we're going to look at literally how Paul tells us that Jesus wants to rewrite our code. So let's jump into this. In Romans chapter 12, verse 3, it says, "For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourselves more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you." Now, Jordan Peterson was at the PPG Paints Arena this past week, and he was giving a great talk that a number of people went to. But one of the things he spent most of his time saying, that you will never find fulfillment in your life if you make your life all about you. And so the most important, the starting point of having our code rewritten, according to verse 3, is the acceptance that you are not all that. I am not all that. It's literally the dethroning of you. I was visiting with Pastor Mark, who pastors the River Franklin Park, our campus over in Franklin Park, and he was telling me the other week he pulled into a Burger King drive-through. And when he pulled into the drive-through, the person over the intercom said to him, "Welcome to the kingdom where you rule." And Mark was like, I don't want to rule in the kingdom. I just want a cheeseburger and some fries. But our culture is so focused on making sure that you know you are the most important person in the kingdom. You are the most important person in the world. And we adopt this idea and we think we're a really big deal. And Paul's like, no. It's very important that we don't think of ourselves more highly than we ought to think. Because when we have a proper view of ourselves, when our code is rewritten to understand who we are in light of who God is and in light of who others are, it brings tremendous freedom. It brings tremendous life. You are not all that. We are not all that. Verse 3 is a great starting point in having our code rewritten. So let me just ask, how are you at doing this? Is it easy for you to look out for the interest of others? To put others ahead of you, to focus on others' needs and live a much more selfless life than a life that is all consumed about me and what I want and what I have to get for me and my well-being. So I want to invite you to take this first step in partnering with God in rewriting the code of your life and having a proper view of yourself in light of God and His majesty and in light of others and who God created them to be. And so now we're going to get in the nuts and bolts of the code, okay? So these are the ones, the zeros, just the code that Paul is spelling out for us. Here's what it looks like to have your life transformed. Here's what it looks like to follow Jesus. Here's what it looks like to love others deeply. Here's what it looks like to have a proper view of yourself. Okay, you ready to jump in? Because it's a lot. You ready to go? This is where the work begins. All right. Verse 9. Paul says, love must be sincere. Love must be sincere. Love is at the center of everything. I love the way you cannot sacrifice love. You cannot separate sacrifice from love. And when you live with a sincere love for others and for God, that little word called hypocrisy kind of diminishes. Because often when we try to look better than we are, when we try to act more important than we are, when we try to put on a front that we have it all together when we don't, when you look beyond the veneer, often people will see our hypocrisy, that we're not living what we're saying we're living. And so Paul is calling us to live sincere lives and to love deeply with sincerity and realness and authenticity. Galatians chapter 5, verse 6 reminds us of this truth. It says, the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself in love. So how are you doing in the area of sincere love in your life? Is there room for improvement? Is there room for more authenticity and letting go of some of the insincerity that often trips us up? Verse 9 continues, he says, hate what is evil. Now, it's interesting in this that he doesn't say hate evil people, right? Because I think we as a culture, we love hating evil people. But he said, no, hate what is evil. And as we look at what does that mean? That means don't posture yourself aligned with things that are evil, with things that are unjust, with things that are harmful to yourself or others. Hate what is evil. And then he says, and cling to what is good. Hold on to what is good. Rewrite the code of your life. If you find yourself running to trouble all the time, if you find yourself avoiding good all the time, Paul's inviting us to rewrite the code through the power of God, to hate what is evil and not align ourselves with it, but to align ourselves and hold on to what is good. He says, be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. Again, you see Paul's commitment to helping us live lives that love others deeply. Do you have room in your soul to love deeply, to love others deeply? Or have you been betrayed and hurt so badly that you've shut that option off and say, no, I'm only going to look out for myself? Well, Paul assures us that that end of that play is loneliness. It is an unfulfilled life. So he encourages us to rewrite the code by being devoted to one another in love, honoring one another above yourselves. And then he says, never be lacking in zeal. Now, I love that word zeal because there's passion with that word. He's saying, hey, live your life passionately and live your life with God passionately. That takes just attending church on the weekend off the shelf. Like a lot of times we think, well, just going to church, that's the goal. No, the goal is to passionately pursue a relationship with Jesus Christ in our lives. And church helps us do that. Hopefully sermons help us do that. Community that we experience in church helps us do that. But the bottom line is to have a passionate zeal for God. He says, never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord. So, rewriting the code in our life, breaking free from the pattern of this world where it's all about me. I am here to be served by everyone else. Paul says, hey, don't forget to serve others and serve the Lord by serving others. That, when we do that, man, our code gets rewritten. We stop conforming to the pattern of this world. Then in verse 12, Paul says, be joyful in hope. Be joyful in hope. Now, hope is what is behind joy. Did you ever, I don't know if I'm allowed to set my Bible up on this nice car. Did you ever see somebody that was just filled with joy and you're like, why do they have so much joy? I want some joy like that in my life. There's one person that has modeled joy for me throughout my life. Her name was Pauline George, and she was my youth leader when I was 13, 14 years old. And she has lived her entire life filled with joy. She's experienced tragedy and heartbreak, and yet she's lived her life filled with joy. And do you want to know what's behind that? She always has something good in front of her. Whenever you visit with her, she always tells you about the thing that she's working on, in investing in other people's lives, in pouring out her love for God into the lives of others. And it's fascinating to see the hope that she lives with and how that hope fuels joy in her life. So when Paul says, be joyful in hope, I want us to unlock the power of that in our lives so that we live lives that are filled with joy. So when someone is searching, hey, I need joy in my life, who can I look at that I know that lives with joy, that they will think of you and reach out to you and want to know about the joy that you live with in your life. Then Paul says, hey, be patient in affliction. Jesus already told us that bad things are going to come our way. In this world, you will have trouble, he says. Well, we are called to be patient in that affliction. We are called to live with endurance and press through and not give up, not be exasperated by what life throws at us, but to live with endurance and have patience. We are called to be faithful in prayer. Now, it would be interesting if we had a whole sermon dedicated to prayer. Oh, wait, that was last week. If you don't want to watch the whole sermon, you can just go on our Facebook or YouTube and just pull out the little 5-minute highlight of last week's sermon about being faithful in prayer. Verse 13, Paul says, share with the Lord's people who are in need. He's saying, hey, rewrite your code by being generous, giving away your time, giving away your ability in helping others, by giving away your treasure and blessing others through your generosity. Paul says if you want to be transformed, the code that needs to be rewritten in your life is found in these verses. He says, practice hospitality. Are you a welcoming person? Have you ever been somewhere and you were invited to be there, but when you got there, you felt, I am not welcome here. I am not, they don't really want me here. Well, this gift of being welcoming, living a hospitality-filled life, declares that I am not here just for myself. I am here for others. I am going to use my life, my resources to draw others in to the grace and love of Jesus Christ. Now, we're going to kick it up a notch. This is coding a little bit higher level than just entry level. Paul says, bless those who persecute you. Bless those who persecute you. How easy is that for us to do? Oh, man. I get spoken wrongly about. I get somebody harsh on me. I get somebody challenging to me. I don't want to bless them. But when I began to understand that hurting people hurt people, and that the people that are hurting me because they are hurt themselves, that opens the door for me to have empathy and grace and to be a blessing toward those who hurt me, who persecute me. Paul says, bless and do not curse. Then he says, rejoice with those who rejoice. Now that sounds easy. It's like, yes, I'm going to celebrate with you. But you know what happens when we rejoice with those who rejoice? We are given the opportunity to envy. It's like, well, I want that. I don't want to just, I don't want to just rejoice with them. I want to be blessed the way they are blessed. But when we learn to rejoice with those who rejoice, we learn how to push back against envy and say, I have enough, and I'm going to celebrate God's blessing on their lives. And then he says, mourn with those who mourn. Paul is saying, rewrite the code of your life and move toward people who are grieving. Meet them in their grief with the grace God has blessed your life with. For those of us that have experienced grief deeply, this is a gift that is entrusted to us, the opportunity to identify with and grieve alongside of those who are grieving, because we have been there and we have had people navigate that in our lives as well. We're almost done. He says, live in harmony with one another. How do we do that? Well, we can celebrate the unity that we can have in our diversity. We don't have harmony because we're all the same. We have harmony because we're all different. And we commit that in our differences, we are going to be united and stronger. So if if we were all the same, what a boring world we would live in. What a boring church we would be in. But the gift we have of unity in our diversity, and celebrating the harmony that we can live in with each other, that's rewriting the code in a significant way. Paul says, do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Now, for me, this is the most freeing, liberating thing that's taken place in my life in the past 4 or 5 years. Realizing when it says associate with people of low position, do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. I always viewed that as, well, I'm up here and they're down here and I'm willing to come down to their level. But what I realize is that I'm already down on this level. There's no big deal about me. And when I stop viewing people at different levels, and when I stop viewing people that they're worth more or less, when I start viewing people as beloved, created people made in God's image, when I start viewing people like that, I'm set free. I'm set free from the temptation to judge or to think more highly of myself than I ought to think. I am set free, and it rewrites my code. Have you had your code rewritten this way? And then finally, verse 17, Paul says, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. As much as you are able, live at peace with everyone. Do not pile on when relational drama shows up in your life. Do not pile on relational trauma or relational drama. Live at peace with everyone. And this isn't always possible. There's someone in my life that I wish wasn't hurt by me, wasn't wanting to avoid me. There's someone in my life that whenever I'm near them, they turn and walk the other way. Now, you don't know them. They're not part of our church. They're not part of my family. So you don't have to is it me? Is it me? If you're watching this, then you're not them. But I'm doing my best to live at peace with them. But it may not happen. It may not happen. But I try. And I want to invite each of us to look at these verses in Romans chapter 12, verses 3, and especially verses 9 through 18. And as we read them, begin to align our lives with the instructions that Paul is giving us, the new code he's giving us to live by and in. Because when we do that, the SEO of our lives, the soul engine, the people searching for God, they'll be drawn to him through you. And so may God rewrite the algorithm of your life. May God help you, and may you partner with him to not be conformed to the pattern and the system of this world, but to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. May we invite Jesus to hack our system, to steal our identity and align it with his. And may we invite Jesus, and may we partner with Jesus to rewrite our code. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining here with us today. I can't wait to see you next Sunday, which is Car Show Sunday, May 19th at 200 Freeport Road, New Kensington. I'd love to have you come out and join us. We'll have a car-themed message. We'll feed 1,000 people for free, including you if you show up. God bless you. Have a great week. Thank you so much for joining in with us today.